BFBS, the Forces Station. Wherever you are today in the Forces world, I hope you're doing all right. Now, it is estimated that around 700,000 people in the UK have a diagnosis of autism, and autistic individuals face a significantly higher risk of suicide, including a greater rate of successful suicide attempts compared to the general population. Joining me today, two very special guests. Julia McKeever. How are we doing today, Julia?
Oh, great. Thank you very much for having us.
It's a real pleasure. And alongside you, your Oppo, it's Keith Duffy. Hello, Keith. How are you?
I'm very well indeed, Amy. Lovely to hear your voice today. How are you?
I'm really good. And do you know what? I want to start by saying to both of you, thank you for raising this story, because I know that this is a conversation that I haven't had myself. So I have really enjoyed learning a little bit more about this and seeing all of the excellent work that you've been doing. Julia, I'm going to start with you. You were recently bestowed an award. So tell me a little bit about the work that you've been doing to highlight what autistic individuals have been facing.
Yeah, it's amazing. The National Lottery Award to be nominated and then to actually win has been fantastic. Really, the Autism Hive, we are a suicide prevention organisation based within the autistic community. It's great actually to be on your show this morning because we actually have been working with veterans and people within the armed forces that are autistic or are recently diagnosed as with autism, which is something that's even quite new to come at the moment.
Okay. So what sort of work do you do, Julia? Tell me a little bit about what might happen if I should find that I have a diagnosis of this nature. Do I reach out to you? Like, what work do you do?
The moment we're education and training, we go to schools and different organisations, really teaching about what autism is, how mental health is co-occurring condition, and also the prevention of suicide. So if someone was to come along to us, it's really, we can work one-to-one and come and meet the person and, see where they are in their journey, and then just really, look at what mental health aspects could be going along with their autistic diagnosis, and just really go from there.
It's really powerful. The stuff that you're doing is absolutely amazing. I want to ask you about the Autism Hub. Tell me a little bit about that.
The Autism Hub is it's a weekly group of young people who are autistic. We get together, we do arts and crafts. We went to the we do day trips and different things, and it's just really bringing them together and talking about mental health and how they're dealing with life at the moment, and really helping them to deal with their daily life.
Okay, I mean, offering some great support, and I know that this award is going to be very well received. So, what did it mean for you guys?
It meant a lot. The recognition from the lottery has been fantastic. They were our first main funder, so to actually get that recognition and to have this, really for us to get out there and for people to know where we are has been fantastic.
Well, it's lovely to talk to you, and like I say, I think the work you're doing is absolutely amazing. Keith, I'd really like to talk to you now, if I may. Why was it important for you to support this good work?
Well, I've been campaigning for children and their families affected by autism for 20 years. When I heard the story, I was devastated because it's a reality that I wasn't aware of as much as I am now. This has brought it to light to me, and for someone like me who's been publicly fundraising and actively, trying to get the awareness of autism out there for 20 years. I was devastated to hear Julia's story. It's crazy because that story aside, I have seen firsthand that if the appropriate intervention and the appropriate stimulation and education is put in place with children with autism at the right time, the life choices and the standard and the life they lead is so much brighter and better. And it's just in this day and age for those services not to be available to these children in the 21st century when we already know and have had the work done. It's absolutely crazy. It's devastating. You know, I'm very fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate. I have a 23-year-old daughter with autism, and she was significantly autistic when she was younger. I mean, she was nonverbal. She was very much isolated in her own world. She didn't have eye contact. She wasn't tactile. She wasn't very affectionate. And, you know, we were told from specialist to specialist that she'd end up maybe probably in an institute by the time she was 14 or 15. You know, and I looked into that, then I realized a lot of these kids that are institutionalized, you know, are sedated to a chair by certain drugs, including the likes of Ritalin and one thing and another. And, you know, at that time, it scared everything out of me. And I was just focusing on trying to provide the appropriate intervention for my daughter and other little boys and girls like her at that time. And that work just went on and on and on because it took so long to get any type of support from the government at all. Everybody told me that early intervention for children is essential for their future. But yet there was a waiting list for diagnosis of up to 3.5 years. So if you've got a 2 or 3-year-old that you're worried about that might have autism and they need the appropriate intervention and services and a tailored education, but yet they can't access any services until they have a diagnosis that's recognized through the state, well, then that's a huge, massive problem. So we tackled that problem. At the time, we took the waiting list from 3.5 years down to 6 months under Irish Autism Action, which was the charity I worked for at the time. And we put in place, we helped to put in place over 12 schools that provided the appropriate intervention and education for children with autism across across the Republic of Ireland. We started work up in the north of Ireland and in Belfast with another autism based charity. But all along, my daughter was responding very well to the treatment, and the treatment basically was a tailored education for the specific needs of each child. And that's the difference. So a ratio of 6 to 1 or 8 to 1, which is a special needs ratio of education to children to teacher, although that's fantastic, it's still not good enough. Some of these kids need a 1-to-1 educational program put in place, if only for a short term, until they get into this, until they get to the ability of being able to understand the being educated and what they're doing in a school. So, you know, this is a different side of the whole autism kind of campaigning that I do that I wasn't very aware of. And I'm delighted today to get the opportunity to meet Julia, to congratulate her on her hard work. And we'll become buddies today, and hopefully in the future we might be able to help each other out and work together on some projects.
Absolutely right. I love that. And I hear the passion in both of your voices. It's such an important message. Where can people go to find out a little bit more about autism and also this new research about suicide prevention amongst the autistic community?
The best one at the moment is Autistica, or the National Autistic Society. One of the main professors within autism at the moment is Dr. Sarah Cassidy. She's based in Newcastle University. So any of this would be fantastic. And also, yes, please come back to the Autism Hive.
You're doing great work, Julia. And Keith, it's always good to talk to you. Look, I have to take the opportunity to have a quick chat to you about your incredible career, because we see you everywhere, Keith. You know, we hear you and we see you absolutely everywhere. If you could pick a career highlight from everything that you've done, what would it be?
Wow, that's a hard question considering I'm 30 years getting away with it this year. So Boys Own are 30 years together this October, this month. So over the 30 years, I've been very, very blessed to have all sorts of careers. I mean, obviously, Boys Own back in the 90s was great. I 10 years on and off in Coronation Street. All my work that I did in the West End and in the theatre work I did in the West End, and most recently over the last 6-7 years, I've been working with Brian McFadden as Boys Life. And I just flown in actually from Dubai. We played the tennis court stadium in Dubai on Friday night in Dubai. That was pretty amazing. to be honest, just to be given the opportunity to still do what I love to do, in the form that I'm doing it now is my highlight of right now. Brian and I started off doing a kind of a stories, laughter, and music show, like um, an autobiographical show where we spoke about our experiences in the music business over 25 years. And that's organically grown us into becoming recording artists together. So we've recently written and recorded our first studio album together, and we've been out touring that. And to be honest, it's just when there's only two, you get much more opportunity to be up front and singing the songs instead of clicking your fingers in the background. And for right now, that's what I'm living to do and loving doing it. We're on this weekend in the AO Arena in Manchester. We're bringing back together a lot of the bands that we performed with back in the 90s. We've got Peter Andre and Bewitched and Blue and Five, and we're all performing together in the AO Arena in Manchester this Saturday night, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. But a highlight, I suppose, is, people say success is not a destination, it's a journey. I'm on my journey at the moment, and part of my journey is working with Brian McFadden, and I'm loving what I'm doing.
And we are loving watching along as well and hearing you as well. Look, I just want to dip into a rumor from very early on in your career, Keith, if I can. Did
Oh,
you?
lovely.
Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Did you, when you did your audition for Boyzone, is it true that you danced to "I'm Too Sexy" from Right Said Fred?
Absolutely 100% true. I did a dance to I'm Too Sexy for my shirt, and not only did I sing it, I took off all my clothes as well.
Go
I
on,
gave
Keith.
myself every opportunity to get into the band. And I don't
And
apologize for it either.
no, and thank goodness you did, my friend. Thank goodness. Look, if I said to you, you can't be, a singing, television acting, radio presenting superstar anymore. You've got to join the military. Are you signing up for the RAF, the Navy, or the Army? Land, air, or sea, Keith?
Oh, I'd love to be in the RAF. Absolutely, the RAF 100%. There's no question about it.
Any particular reason?
Well, just to get the opportunity to fly fighter jets, that would be amazing. I did get an experience about 15 or 20 years ago. I mean, the Irish don't really have an RAF. We have got, at the time, the Irish Defence Forces had got a very small, um what would I call it, Air Force, and they had little planes called Fugas. And for a TV show once, I was allowed to sit in the navigator seat of a Fuga, which is a two-seater fighter plane, French fighter plane, X-wing fighter plane. And I did a bit of formation flying in Southern Ireland in one of them as a passenger. And it was exhilarating. We did what's called a 3G loop. And I nearly passed out while we were doing it. But I mean, that's nothing compared to these kind of F-19s and F-16s, what they have in the Top Gun movies. But when you look at Top Gun, who doesn't want to be Tom Cruise?
I'm nodding along. I know you can't see me, but I am nodding along. Look, you guys are doing amazing work. Julia, Keith, thank you so much for bringing this story to our attention. I wish you the very best of luck with your campaign and everything that you're doing with the Autism Hive in Northern Ireland. Thank you for your time today.
No problem. I just have to say, I'm literally here just as a guest to say congratulations to Julia for her award, and just to say how well deserved it is, and I'm delighted and honoured to be part of presenting this award to Julia.
No, that's lovely. Thank you, guys. Keith, can I be really cheeky just before I jump off the call? Do you think I could get a Christmas message for the troops for Christmas Day?
Sure. What would you like me to say?
Just I'm Keith, and just for because we're all going to be working on Christmas Day right around the world. So if you just ID yourself and just a little something that might pick spirits up on Christmas Day, people missing their families and stuff like that.
Okay, I'll do my best. Tell me when.
Yeah, we're rolling. Thank you, mate.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Wherever you are in the world, it's Keith Duffy here. Probably known for Boyzone or my few years in Coronation Street. But on Christmas Day, it's all about family, and I just wanted to wish everybody out there that's not with their family today, just to know that their family are thinking about them. We all love them. Keep up the work, and we love you. God bless you. Happy Christmas.
That's brilliant, mate. Thank you ever so much. I'm very grateful to you. Is there any particular handles or social media that you guys want me to push out? Is there anything that we can do from our end to really push this message forward?
That would be great, Amy. What I'll do is I'll email them over just in
Thank
case so we
you.
don't get them wrong. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for your time today. It was really lovely to read this story, and so many congratulations to you, Julia.
Thank you very, very much.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
your
guys.
time, Amy. Thanks.
Bye,
Take
guys.
care.
Bye-bye.
Well done, guys.
Huh?
You're amazing.
You're amazing. Because I'm doing this 30 years and you've done a fabulous job there. That's fabulous.
So, I hate to throw you straight in. The one thing just from my side, Keith, brilliant, really good stuff. If there's one thing that I could add, it's this. National Lottery, somewhere in there, it's harder to do.
On the National Lotteries, raise 30 million good causes every single week.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Somewhere in the mix. Like,
Okay.
just love that in. So I'm going to throw you over
My 5
to.
million lottery money is for the single. Wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing. Hopefully that could be 762 now with mine. Or 763 of yours.
I'm going to bring in Anne Marie. Oh, could you bring that B in just a little bit more? There.
For a little mascot.
And
Is it your master?
Yeah.
in terms of that, if you feel comfortable, like pick it up and talk about it, maybe put it in between you actually.
Who are we talking to now?
This is Anne Marie. This is BBC Ulster, BBC. So I pop it in between you. Yeah, there we go.
Does he have a name?
No, we haven't actually named him.
You need to give him a name. It's a bee, isn't it?
Yeah.
Honey bee. Honey.
Honeybee.
I was just
That you said horny.
honey. That's what you're laughing.
Hey, Anne Marie.
Hello,
I'm glad
hello.
I muted Keith and Julia just at that point.
Oh, excellent.
I'm just going to give you recording rights.
Okay,
And I've got the two of them here whenever you're ready.
cool, no problem. Can you see me okay? I don't know whether you can or not, can you? No.
Those behind or in front of us. You can't see it.
Can't see me, no.
Well, we can see it, yeah.
Can you see me?
We've got
Hello,
the
hello.
behind us, though, so you can only see shadows of us.
Oh, yes, well, I can see a lovely bumblebee in the middle. And that's nice.
That's our
For
honey.
the
We
hive.
call her honey.
Oh.
Not horny, honey.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Obviously, hello, Julia. How are you?
Morning. Yes, thank you. Good.
Excellent. Well, I'm Anne Marie. I'm filling in for Lynette. So Lynette has the afternoon show on Radio Ulster, but I'm filling in for her on today and Monday. So this is going to go out on Monday, if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
hiding your beautiful face behind that microphone, Anne-Marie.
Okay. So I sorry, because I can't see myself at all. I don't know. Is that any better? I don't know.
Oh, you look gorgeous now.
Oh, listen, I was doing my makeup in the car on the way in after doing the school run, so I don't know what I
I've
look
often
like at
seen
all.
women doing that makeup in the car. Very dangerous, you know.
Very dangerous, especially when you stick the mascara in your eye. And I probably have wonky eyebrows now. Anyway, sorry, because I know you've probably got about 1 million people to talk to, do you both? Yeah, loads.
Yeah, we've a busy fortnight of interviews.
Oh, flip, right, okay. And this is obviously lovely. Look at the front here. This is him in the picture frame then as a baby and as a teenager.
It is, yeah. He was about 22 in the picture.
Lovely. Oh, I hope I don't get upset. Gosh. How are you coping with all this? Are you not struggling a bit with it?
Oh, so nervous. Honestly, Keith, I've just listened to him, which has given me a bit of confidence that hopefully I'll get better during the interviews. But yeah, it's so out of my comfort zone, but it's lovely to do.
Well, it's very
Don't
personal.
mind her. She's doing this all her life. She's brilliant.
Oh, well, I'm sure you'll be wonderful. No, it's very personal to me too. I'm afraid we're going through something similar. So I totally understand. So let me just get myself together for a second. Whew. Okay,
Don't cry
sorry.
because I'm
I
stubborn.
know.
And then you get me going. Come on.
This is why I'm only the fill-in and not the usual one.
Okay. Oh Lord. Oh, sorry. Can I record that then? Are we recording this? No, we're not recording. Is it okay if I record Josh? Yeah, is that all right? That's a thumbs up, probably. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you. Cheers, Josh. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, put myself together. Let's
Marie,
start.
take your time. It's only a pre-record for Monday, so we're not in any rush. Don't worry.
Ah, okay. You're listening to the Lynette Faye Show with Anne-Marie Wallace, and with me, all the way from Portadown, are Julia McKeever from the Autism Hive and international superstar Keith Duffy. Hello to you both.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Is it morning where you were?
It's afternoon where we are pretending.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
We're good. We're good.
Excellent. Well, I suppose I would like to find out why we are celebrating Julia McKeever. Julia, you have done amazing things in your part of the world, and Keith Duffy has flown in specially to present you with an award. So tell me, Keith, tell me why you have flown over to see Julia.
Well, Julie, as you know, has done fantastic work in the autism sector and within suicide within the autism sector. And the National Lottery have decided to award Julia for her hard work, to recognise her hard work, which is amazing. And Julia's delighted, but also by the National Lottery getting involved, obviously it gives us a huge platform to be able to talk about what Julia's doing and the whole autism community. Maybe Julia might want to talk about what you've been doing, and then I could talk.
Yeah, obviously the Autism Hive has come in with the tragic death of my son Luke. It was just something as a mother I didn't know that there was mental health issues with Luke. Obviously we all know what autism is, and then unfortunately for him to die by suicide was just something that was just it was just devastating for us as a family, and I needed answers. So we went on a quest to find out why this could have happened, and we went to Robin Swan just not long after Luke had died, really asking, what is there within Northern Ireland? Why is this not more to understand that autistic people are 9 times more likely to die by suicide than neurotypical people? That's just madness. And then for the information not to be there, and for mothers and families to not know that. So really that's why the Autism Hive was created, to bring that awareness, the research, the education, so that really other people aren't on my journey.
Well, Julia, you've got a beautiful picture of Luke, both as a very young child and as a 22-year-old, a gorgeous looking boy. And I was interested, when was he diagnosed as an autistic person?
Luke was diagnosed at 12, and he came out of school at 13 or 14. And then really unfortunately, due to education at the time and things that there wasn't really the help that Luke needed. So really as a mom, I took him out of school, and then I became his full-time carer. I stood in where he needed me. And really the mental health aspect would have started around when he was 15 or 16. Probably testosterone coming in for boys, and that meant that side of his body changing, his mental state changing, and understanding life a lot more.
And Keith, this is personal to you too. I mean, this is not just because you've been asked by the National Lottery to come over. You have a vested interest in everything about help for people, autistic people, because you have also a child who, well, she's an adult now, a beautiful 23-year-old who is an autistic individual.
Yes, I do. And back in the day when Mia was diagnosed, I mean, we were very aware when Mia was 12 months old to 18 months old that she wasn't developing like a typical and a neurotypical child. She has an older brother, Jay, 4 years older, and we recognized a lot of differences between, when Jay was her age and her at her age. And I hadn't got a clue at the time what autism was. I mean, I'd heard the word autism before, but I really didn't understand it, and I didn't know what it was at all. And a very long story short, it became apparent to me that this autism might have something to do with why my daughter is so different. And when I say different, I mean, as the years went on, Mia was non-verbal. She didn't speak until she was nearly 8 years of age. She lived in a very much isolated world of her own. She wasn't very tactile. She wasn't very affectionate, which it broke my heart. But obviously, it broke her mummy's heart. Mummies and their daughters have a very close bond, and my wife, didn't have that bond with her only daughter. Um, so through the state a waiting list of 3.5 years for a diagnosis. But once I mentioned the word autism to people, they said to me that early diagnosis is essential for the future of the child. I mean, if you can get it as early as you possibly can and implement the appropriate intervention and education as early as you can, you're going to give the child a much better opportunity to have a better quality of life later on. And that's an ongoing problem. My daughter, that was back when my daughter was 2.5 years of age. That's 20 years ago. And it's still no better. If it is, it's only slightly better. And that's really disgraceful. I worked for Irish Autism Action for years, fundraising and trying to get awareness out there of autism, because so many people are still so ignorant to autism. I mean, to be honest, I was quite ignorant to the 9 out of 10 more chance of a child with autism taking their own life than a neurotypical child. I didn't know that. I'm still caught up in the early stages of autism, trying to provide the appropriate, like I say, intervention and education. I haven't even moved on that far yet. And I'm devastated to have heard Julia's story. I'm delighted she's turned the story into such a positive one, and she's got such great support up here. She's got my support now, and my team support now 100%, and it's going to be something now that we make sure that we're aware of, and that other families that have children with autism are aware of, families that are not receiving the appropriate intervention that they need, regardless of the age of the child, whether it be children or whether it be young adults. If they're not receiving the appropriate intervention that they need and the proper services that they need, that they are aware that there's a higher chance of suicide within their family if they have a child with autism. It's something that's going to be very much on my radar going forward. So that's only one of the million things that Julia has succeeded in doing, is making me, someone that's very public about autism, aware of this situation. And I believe everything happens for a reason. And the reason that I am here today is because I need to know this information. I needed to know this information, and I do now. Mia is doing wonderful. I'm very, very blessed. I do feel very, very fortunate. Like I said, she was non-verbal till she was 7.5, nearly 8 years of age. But we did manage to open up an educational facility that we ended up with 18 children, because I thought, if I'm going to do it for my own child, I have a bit of a familiar face. People do know who I am. Maybe I can make up a bigger noise and actually, help other children like Mia. So I found other parents that were in the same position as myself, and we worked together. We started a charity together, and we worked as a charity going forward, fighting the government and fighting the Board of Health and Board of Education, and until they started listening to us, and we managed to get a schooling provision opened in Dublin. And Mia was one of the lucky children to be able to receive that form of intervention. And it was intensive intervention. She would start at 8:30 in the morning and she wouldn't finish till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And like I said, even though it seemed to be working and she was going in the right direction, she still was non-verbal. So the fact that Mia does speak now, and when I say, I remember my son, when I was running my charity events back in the day, I'd have a big black tie ball, and at the end of the night, before the auction, to pull on the heartstrings, I would do a speech about autism and about what it's like for families, and try to make people that are not directly touched by autism understand what it's like for families, and to try and help them understand why we needed these funds. And I would do a speech, and I'm part of the speech at the time. I would say, as my son Jay used to say to me, why does my baby sister not talk to me? Why doesn't she speak to me? Does she not love me? And I had to explain to Jay that it's not just him, that she doesn't speak to anybody. She doesn't speak to me. She doesn't speak to her mammy. I said, but I'm delighted to be able to say, more recently, Jay asked me, Daddy, how do we shut her up? So we've moved on in great forms. But like I say, we are a lucky family insofar as that Mia now has she's gone through college. She got her Bachelor's of Science out of DCU last year. She secured herself a job with an American pharmaceutical company, and she's coding now. Socially, Mia doesn't have many friends, unfortunately. She's still quite socially behind, but at the same time, we're so grateful for what she has got, not for what she hasn't got. And that I think that's important for families to look for the positives, not the negatives. When any family are out there getting a diagnosis done, getting an assessment done, don't be looking for the negatives. Don't be looking for, how bad is it? Where are they on the spectrum? It's not about that. You start off with what can she do? What can he do?
Yeah.
What are the positives? And that's the starting basis. That's where we start. What can they do? And we build on that. And there is light at the end of the tunnel. And with people like Julia bringing all of this to light, it does give people the opportunity and the awareness to make sure that they're keeping an eye on everything, and they're not forgetting anything. So like I said, I always believe things happen for a reason. I've got great faith, and I do believe that myself and Julia have met for a reason. And I certainly, like I said, will be sharing Julia's story in a very positive light moving forward.
Well, I imagine you've given a lot of the parents and young adults that listen to our programme, you'll have given them a lot of hope, because we know there's a lot of listeners who tune in who are on that waiting list of 3.5, 4 years before they even get the diagnosis, before they get on to the next step. But for you, Julia, then you opened the Autism Hive after the very, very sad death of Luke. And so now, what does the facility do? What do you offer individuals, parents, whenever they come to see you?
Sorry. Really, what he called, if a parent comes to us, it's sitting with them. Excuse me, I'm not good at this here.
No, listen, you're
honestly,
great.
Keith's amazing. For the awareness that is coming from this is fantastic. That's what we've wanted, just for other people not to be in my situation. It's just absolutely fantastic. Really, all we do is really sit with a family member, hear what they're saying. Children are self-harming. Young as 10 years old with autism are talking about wanting to die. Statistics like that is unbelievable. And for the support not to be there, for the knowledge not to be there, why isn't it? And really, the Autism Hive, then we're here to work alongside that family to make sure that their child's mental health is looked after, and that they're given every opportunity that that we're able to give them. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry.
No,
Well, no,
this...
just to say, on the back of this, I have to say, and it's made me reflect. There were times when Mia was coming through her late teens that she did have breakdowns, and it's only bringing it back to me now, having heard the story, because, like I said, I wasn't aware of the statistics of suicide within autism. I really wasn't aware of it until now. And I'm as shocked as anybody out there is listening might be, but now it's bringing back to my mind. I remember times when Mia would have come to me and her mammy very upset, and she would say to us that she's a burden on us, and that we might be better off without her. And obviously I had no idea really that Mia might have been having any type of suicidal tendencies or thought processes at the time. I really didn't. And listening to this story now is scaring me and shocking me to the point that I at that time, probably didn't take that as seriously as I probably should have, because I wasn't aware. I really, really wasn't aware that Mia genuinely might have been feeling like that. And thank God we've come through that, and we're out the other side. And like I said before, we're very, very lucky and blessed. But I do remember these conversations with my daughter, and now this is bringing it to light. And like I said, it's certainly something now that's going to be on the top of my agenda when I'm talking with any families with young adults affected by autism. And hopefully through Julia's work, we'll never know, and we don't need to, but hopefully we will be able to prevent this from happening to any other family, and certainly make them aware that it's a possibility.
Well, that's the thing, you've won this award, and it's obviously proof that you are helping so many people. And that's the wonderful thing, because I have a personal vested interest in this myself, and the worry is enormous. You are worried day and night. You don't sleep. It is terrifying. And so I think, for me, I have found talking to anybody else who is in a similar situation, talking to your doctor, talking to the school, talking to whoever, just constantly talking to your child all the time to make sure that they're okay. And I think that's obviously a big part of your Autism Hive that you've opened, is that you can talk to parents, you can talk to.
It's also understanding that people with autism, they communicate differently. You know, my son would have turned around and he would have said, I've got sore hands, I've got a sore stomach, I'm not feeling well today, something's just not right. And he was trying to tell me that his mood was low, but he didn't have the language to be able to let me know that. So as a mum, I just thought, okay, it's down to his autism and we can work through this. And if I step in where he needs me, everything will be okay. Unfortunately, learning now that people with autism, they communicate differently. Now I can give families and their children a way of communicating back, maybe just talking different, you know, because language is very, very important when you're talking to an autistic person. They're very direct, they're very black and white. So it's understanding that we can't turn around and ask someone with autism, how are you today? Because they're going to have so much within their minds that they verbally can't communicate that. So it's going back and really asking specific questions of where they are and how they're feeling. Then we can change their journey.
That's really, really good advice. And you know that even that support, though, the fact that you can offer that advice, and you know, obviously you've both, on a very personal journey, you've both helped people, autistic people, not only your own children, but you know, other people, autistic people. And so now, where do we go from here then, Julia? What's the next step for you with the Autism Hive now that you've won this award and have funding from the National Lottery? You know, where do we go next?
With the £5,000 that we were given, it's opening that we can now do a workshop for school to get in with post age group children, 16-year-olds, to really find out where they're dealing with. They're giving them hope that there is a future. I think autism on a whole, we need to look at it more positively, and that's something that we would like to do. My dream would be have our own organization that people can come to, that our own building, that once they come in, they will get their diagnosis. After that, then the support that they need yearly. I do believe that when, you know, families get their diagnosis, it's usually early intervention that needs continually looked at. You know, we all change, we all grow, our journey changes within life. So we really want to be that organization that whenever you come, we work from you from the beginning right through your life.
And that's the thing. We also have within Northern Ireland, we have Autism NI, and people can contact them as well because they offer great support and their courses and all sorts. So there are avenues that we can go down before even that diagnosis has finally been, you know, signed off by the doctor. Because as we said, the waiting list is so long. You know, it's what, 3.5, 4 years. And as we said, 1 in 20 individuals in Northern Ireland are now diagnosed as autistic. So it's a huge figure. And in one way, it's good, isn't it, that more people are getting the diagnosis, so they're not living wondering, you know, oh, why do I think differently? Why am I different? You know, because obviously Mia, even though she wasn't verbal, you know, she was able to communicate to you that she was different.
Yeah, well, the thing about autism is ASD, it's autism spectrum disorder. So it's a spectrum disorder. So it can go with children that's unrecognizable or undetected until they are young adults, or even sometimes now already, you know, in their career choice or whatever they're doing. I mean, where autism has moved forward is that people have now started to recognize that it is a thing. And they've started to take away all the other names like Asperger's syndrome and all these other things, and they've just put it all into one bracket now as autism. But you see, that's not necessarily a great thing. ASD is a better thing. Autism spectrum disorder. If you understand what a spectrum is, you'll understand that, you know, it's like you can have a common cold and somebody's confusing it for pneumonia. You know what I mean? And that's as extreme the difference can be. You know, a spectrum can go from -1,000,000 to +1,000,000. So autism is only a word that's used for a multitude of different disabilities that seem to affect each child completely differently. That's why within the schools that we have set up, we have a tailored education for each specific child, because every child is different. Every neurotypical child is different. Every child with autism is different. Some have all of the disabilities and some only have a few. And it's a matter of noting each child, making each child individual, and having a specific tailored education for that specific child. And if we can provide the intervention that that specific child needs, and they might not need one-to-one education, 6-to-1 might be fine. One-to-one for half an hour a day might be fine. Language therapy, music therapy, speech language therapy. That, we don't want to throw all of this at each child because they're pigeonholed as autistic. We need to break it down and find out what each individual child needs. And if we can understand that, we'll be able to achieve an awful lot more. The problem with that is it's expensive. And through the Board of Education, any of the ministers that are in play at the moment, I think that their term in office is like 4 years. So if they were to start off or instigate some sort of a positive plan moving forward, it wouldn't be seen through within their term in office. So they're not arsed about doing it. If the politicians were given a longer term in play, 7 years, for example, they might take on more of the things that's suggested to them for children with autism because they'll be able to see it through till the end. And I think that's what's been the problem going back 20 years, is nobody's prepared to start off something new because they're not going to be in office long enough to be able to see it through. And until one of these ministers or politicians actually are affected directly themselves with one of their own children, they're not going to be passionate enough to make things happen that need to happen. And that's that they need to hear us saying that so they can, so one of them or two of them or some of them just turn and go, okay, I understand that now. I'm going to be the one to try and make a difference here,
It's so important, though, with people like yourself, Keith, and yourself, Julia, just the fact that you're getting us out here. Like, I know you've said your profile is so huge that, people go, oh, well, Keith Duffy's child, she's autistic. So that's, oh, I can talk about this to my child. And you even having that connection. Whenever I was speaking to a lady from Autism NI, she said, I have a book of 24 pages full of famous figures from all, like, the world of sport and politics and acting, and I bring this to children's houses to say, look, these people have succeeded. Don't think of this as a negative. Don't think of this as oh, I'm autistic, the world has fallen down. That's not the way it is. It's just you're diagnosed as autistic, and now we work with this, and then we work to your skills, and that's what we have to do.
If anything, they're better people than we are. If anything, I mean, as Julia said, they're black and white. There's no gray area. There's they speak straight. They say it how it is. So you wouldn't want to be too sensitive. Don't get me wrong. If you're self-conscious about any bad traits you might have, you better not ask the question if you don't want the truth, because they're very honest. But listen, it's like anything. A little bit of everything makes something brilliant, and children and young adults with autism have a beautiful mind and a beautiful heart. They're just misunderstood sometimes, and that's a problem.
Well, I'm delighted you came over to see Julia and give her an award. When is the award ceremony? Is there a ceremony tonight? What's happening?
At 11 o'clock.
Oh, it's 11 o'clock. Oh, goodness. So it's quite soon. I hope you're getting food and all, are you? You getting a proper spread?
Tea and coffee, so I'm hoping for food.
Well, listen, Julia, congratulations. You have done an amazing thing out of the most awful situation. You really have turned so many people's lives around. And if people want to get in touch with yourself at the Autism Hive, how do they do that?
Just look at do have a website, www.theautismhive.com, and also Facebook, the Autism Hive. Just send us an email.
Thank you so much, Julia. Thank you. And Keith, it was so lovely to talk to you. And obviously, if anyone has been affected by anything you heard on the programme today, you can go to the BBC Action Line, which is bbc.co.uk/action line. Thank you so much. You were great.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Thanks for your time. And I mean, we can see it's obviously personal to you. So well done and holding yourself together there.
Oh, just about. Thanks for taking the time, though. That was really lovely. You're both incredible people. So thank you. Like, I hope you have a lovely day as well,
thanks,
Julia.
Anne-Marie.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Cheers. Bye. Thanks, Josh. Thank you.
God bless her. I wonder what her story is. But
so my job is background of this, and I get to meet incredible people. It amazes me how there'll be people I work with Anne-Marie all the time, and there'll be people that I know, and then you'll never know what's going on. it's such it's like a shock factor.
But you never know what's going on behind closed doors. I work with families all the time that are still in denial about their child with autism. You know, and another huge factor with children with autism within a family is marriage breakups and like the amount of parents I worked with 20 years ago who are no longer together, you know, and they were very happy. But as the child developed, if they weren't responding to any type of treatment or intervention the way they were hoping, um, they blame each other and it's nobody's fault, but they ultimately end up separated, you know, and that's no good
No.
for a household where you've got three typically developing children and one child with autism, and all of a sudden the mother's at home on her own.
Yeah.
That's why, because I think most people have no experience of it until
They think they
experience it.
do.
They think they know.
Unfortunately, I think
Yeah.
it's autism itself has a very negative, you know,
Yeah.
because you're thinking, oh, my child's not going to go anywhere. They're not going. And look at your daughter.
Yeah, but
You know, that's
but
amazing.
they look at fucking Rain Man,
Yeah.
and they look at the Sixth Sense, they look at all these things, and they have to associate it with something that's already known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they associate it with this, which is not a very good representation because it's not as specific as that. Yes, there are children with autism that have a specific genius,
Just for me.
you know,
Yeah.
because
So
you know, they're concentrating loves the Titanic,
Yeah.
right? So she could tell you everything about the Titanic because it's in her interest. In fact, when you're driving the M50 in Dublin, there's a huge billboard that is advertising for the Titanic experience in Belfast. And it's basically said only another hour and 30 minutes drive, you can experience one of the world's education through UK and then American TV or whatever. And she goes, oh, Papa, look. And